people praying the rosary have changed the course of world events, and they can do it again.
How beautiful would it be for us, like many of the great saints, if we were just throughout the day constantly praying the rosary, reflecting on Jesus and Mary and the great mysteries of our salvation. Help us fall in love again, to be renewed again in our praying of the rosary. The team here at Ascension, we've put together the Rosary in a Year podcast.
I will always be yours.
And each day, we're going to have a 10 to 15 minute episode where we're just going to work through the basics of the rosary. Who is Jesus? How do we encounter Jesus? Who is Our Lady? What does it mean for us to be in a relationship to her? We're going to go through the Hail Mary, the Our Father, each of the different mysteries. And then we're going to bring in some saint writings on the mysteries and some sacred art that speaks on the mysteries, and all of this to help enrich our prayer, to renew our prayer, to help us fall in love with Jesus and Mary, and to fall in love with the rosary. A great place to start would be by going to ascensionpress.com/rosary in a year. Look forward to the journey with you.
Hey, I'm Father Mark Mary with Franciscan Friars of the Renewal, and this is Ascension Presents. The date is this October 7th, 1571. October 7th, see if you already recognize that date. And the setting is the sea just outside of Lepanto, a small town called Lepanto. There's about to be a huge war, and there's 300 Turkish Islamic ships sailing down, and they belong to the Turkish Ottoman Empire, and they've been going through Europe and trying to conquer Christian Europe, doing war with Christians who are considered their enemies. And in response are 285 ships that belong to the Holy League that were called to action by Pope St. Pius V, led by a young man named Don Juan, who's a knight of the time. And the war is going to take place, the great battle is going to take place on October 7th. October 6th, on all of the ships, the captain, he called his men to prayer. He distributed rosaries for all these men and called them to pray the rosary. In the morning, Mass was offered. They received absolution, and they would go to war. At the same time, the Holy Father, Pope St. Pius V, a man of great devotion, particularly great devotion to the power of the rosary, was calling for Christians to pray, more specifically to pray the rosary and to have public devotions to Our Lady. And so everyone was doing their part. The Christian soldiers had prayed and they had trained and they were ready for battle. The Christians who couldn't be there on the ships, again, animated and led by their Holy Father, were praying. They were praying for not just a victory in this battle, but understanding that two very different opposing forces with very huge implications for Europe and also for Christianity, this clash was about to happen. And from my reading on it, seemingly there's a bit of a miraculous change of the wind and a parting of a cloud. And the Christian army, this Holy League army, again, sort of called for by Pope St. Pius V and then led by this young captain, Don Juan, had a tremendous and overwhelming victory. It'll be a massive, massive victory for Europe, and a massive victory for Christianity, and a great blow to the Turks. And perhaps it's this battle, and the winning of this battle, that Rome is Rome, that Rome is Christian, and much of Europe as well. It really was kind of a tide-turning, a world-affecting battle and victory and event. And 100%, like a number of soldiers fought, and they fought bravely, and wives sacrificed their husbands, and children lost their fathers, and mothers and fathers lost their son. There's a great sort of laying down of one's life to protect Christian Europe. But these were also a people in a time of great devotion and great faith, and not to discredit the sacrifice that these men made in laying down their lives. But there was this really profound and overwhelming and kind of universal sense that the victory was more than just, if you will, through the vow or through the fighting of men. They really saw it as a victory of the rosary, to the point that next year Pope St. Pius V had a particular feast day made called Our Lady of Victory. And this was in 1572, Our Lady of Victory on October 7th. So everyone was going to commemorate and celebrate this great victory, Our Lady of Victory, as he really deeply believed and attributed it first and foremost to Our Lady and through the prayers, particularly of the Most Holy Rosary. And then this would evolve. The Dominicans would ask for a particular feast for Our Lady of the Rosary. And eventually what happened, it kind of would actually take kind of a couple hundred years, is there became this universal church feast, memorial of both the Battle of Lepanto, the victory, Our Lady of Victories, and of the Most Holy Rosary. But they would be combined and celebrated. So Our Lady of Rosary is celebrated on October 7th, which is, of course, the day of the victory of the Battle of Lepanto. One cool thing is this, is there's a very common prayer associated with the Rosary, which finds its place actually in the opening prayer of the Mass for Our Lady of the Rosary. Let's see if it rings a bell. O God, whose only begotten Son, who by his life, death, and resurrection has purchased for us the rewards of eternal life. And you know the rest of it, right? This that we say often to end the Rosary, it actually comes from the Mass of Our Lady of the Rosary, which has its roots in this great victory of the Rosary and of Our Lady and of Christianity back in 1571, the Battle of Lepanto. Okay, friends, so what do we do with this in 2024? I think my hope is that it increases our faith and leads to devotion. And increase our faith in this way, like the people of the time, the Holy Father, Christians in Europe, were very, very, very sure and confident that this battle was because of Our Lady and Our Lady's intervention, which was elicited by the prayers, particularly the prayers of the Rosary by the faithful. And this victory, again, changed dramatically the course of world events. And here's what everyone did. The soldiers who could, fought. But those who could not fight in that way, they prayed. So my brothers and sisters, we might look at the world today and the fate of Christianity and the forces opposing Christianity, and we might think, man, we need a miracle. We need something, because the events of the world and the tide of the world and the direction of the world does not seem good. There really could be seen as like victory after victory being lost by Christianity. But my brothers and sisters, take heart. But as we saw at the Battle of Lepanto, as we saw really with Our Lady at Guadalupe as well, we have recourse to a higher power. We have recourse to the Lord through Our Lady, and our particular, if you will, instrument for this battle is the Most Holy Rosary. And so, my friends, what we're doing today, and we're doing always, and we're doing with the Rosary in Your podcast, is what Pope St. Pius V did back in 1571. We're calling for an army of Christians to take up their pious arms of the Most Holy Rosary to intercede for the world, with confidence that, in fact, praying for the world and praying the Rosary for the world can bring about victory and can change the course of world events again. So my brothers and sisters, I just invite you to a renewed devotion and a renewed effort with the Most Holy Rosary, to really trying to pray every day, or wherever you're at, to trying to make steps so that we can be praying the Rosary every day to build up that muscle. If you want some accompaniment, you want some guide, you want some formation of what to do and how to pray the Rosary, as well as a guide to sort of build up the muscle, we have the Rosary in a Year podcast. And I think this is going to be a great source of sort of encouragement and direction as we, again, aren't just going to sit back and let whatever happens, but we want to fight back, and we want to fight back piously, and we want to fight back with our prayers and doing what we can. So my brothers and sisters, thank you for joining me today. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this is encouraging. Hopefully this makes you want to pray the Rosary. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Remember, we are pilgrims on this earth. Somos peregrinos, poco a poco, little by little. Vamos a llegar. We're going to make it.